Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. It's Wednesday. It's time for another Sip It or Skip It episode. If you're not familiar with this episode, I have all of my whiskeys in my collection randomized on my phone. I'm going to spin the wheel. Whatever it selects, I'm going to pull it off the shelf and do a quick review. If I like the bottle, I'm going to buy it again. If I don't like the bottle, I'm going to skip buying it and move on to something different. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see what we are doing today. There we go. Spin the wheel. While this is going, just to let everybody know, I do have a Patreon account now open. It's in the description. Click on that. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, pick a tier that works for you. All right, we're looking at, oh, wow. Okay, so this is a new bottle for me. The Discovery Series 13. It is right here because it is, I have already reviewed it for the month of November. Now, let's see if I'm going to buy this bottle again or continue buying the Disco Series. It's not going to take long. Oh, I've already got a glass because the ball's right here. I'm actually a batch shooting, and I actually haven't reviewed this for the Monday video that came out at the very beginning of November. So you're getting a little behind the scenes sneak peek of how I do my recording. So all of the information for this, and there's a lot of it, is right here, along with the tallies of my Sip It or Skip It episodes up to this point. Again, if you want access to my whiskey collection, all the scores that I have for my Monday videos, along with my tallies of the Sip It or Skip It episodes, you have to be a Patreon member to get access to that. But a little hack, I'm still keeping up my spreadsheet from my prior videos. So if you want to go back in time and take a look at what I have, those links are still active. But as of opening my Patreon account in November, I've stopped updating the sheet. And I have a different one for the Patreon members. All right, it smells like a bourbon, absolutely. I get a little bit of cherry, and again, I go through waves, and let me know, I think this is a pretty important kind of question. Do you go through waves in your drinking where you actually pick up something that's pretty common over a course of maybe a month or two that you get in every whiskey, and then eventually that note or that characteristic goes away and something else comes in? Recently, I've been picking up a lot of acetone in all of the bottles that I've been drinking. I'd be curious to hear from you guys if your palate goes through waves, ebbs and flows of specific notes that you get, and then those disappear after a while. Right now, I am in a period of picking up acetone. Acetone definitely dissipates the longer that it's in the glass, so I'm not anticipating that that note will be there all the way through the review. So on the nose, I'm getting cinnamon, cinnamon spice, oak, and sweetness. The sweetness that I'm getting is just a generalized sweetness. I can't pinpoint it to a vanilla or a candy. It is just sweet. Yeah, oak, spice, and sweetness. Typical bourbon notes are there as well. And I've said this multiple times. I don't think going out on a limb saying bourbon tastes like vanilla, brown sugar, and caramel. The notes that you get with a bourbon, I think, are very narrow, but the intensity that those notes come through distinguish the difference between something that's good, decent, or exceptional. Let me know what you think about that in the description below or in the comments below. If I had to pinpoint a sweetness, I would say somewhere around a light fruit note. Maybe like a really good, sugary, like a mouth-watering, juicy peach, along with your bourbon notes. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Oh yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Again, very narrow flavor profile, but the intensity that this is hitting my palate is just increasing as you go. Brown sugar, caramel, and vanilla. Very intense, very deep, dark, and rich flavors. The spice and the oak notes are also there as well. They're very intense, but they're not overpowering. It's letting the bourbon shine through without killing it. Oak, spice, cinnamon, sugar, caramel, vanilla, brown sugar. That peach note, fruity note, very sweet is coming through. Very viscous, mouth coating, very intense flavors, all around very good. Let me go ahead and get a second sip. There is something here but I need to get that second sip in, see if I can describe it a little bit more, see if it actually comes through on that second sip, and then we'll move on to whether this is a sip or a skip. And based on how I'm talking about it, you probably already know what's going on. So second sip, I need to pinpoint what's happening. All right, nothing about that sip has changed from the first. It just has intensified some of the flavors. That first sip was more of a little bit of an acclimation. That second sip, it allows everything to settle in. And now what's happening, and I think this was what I was trying to get at, this was a roller coaster on the first sip. It felt a little bit sharp or exploding in different parts of the tongue. That second sip, things evened out a little bit. And as it's going from the arrival to mid-palate to finish, the sweet hits up front, then you get the oak, the tannins sink in, a little bit of barrel char or oak, and then that cherry, peach, fleshy fruits, very sweet fruit note kind of starts to rise up. And then in the middle of all that, you start throwing in some of the spice. Cinnamon, a little bit of pepper, and it just rounds itself out to a very well-developed, sweet and spicy pour. I like this quite a bit. And since I just had the Gatsby Reserve, the 2024, I think these are two pours that you can actually sit down and dissect. Let it sit in the glass, have a sip, talk about it with somebody, let it linger on the palate, see if anything new comes in, smell the glass. Don't rush yourself through a pour that has this kind of intensity and depth. If you want to practice picking out notes, the longer that you sip on this, I think it'll start to reveal a little bit more and more. There's oak. Concentrate on that. There is spice. Try to dissect what kind of spice it is. The sweetness that's here has traveled from peach to cherry. That bourbon, those bourbon notes, the vanilla, caramel, and brown sugar are here as well. I think it's an interesting pour, and I think it is worth sitting down and taking your time with. So with all of that, this is definitely going to be a sip. I have seen these sitting on the shelf. I think the bourbon world is kind of slowing down, or sales are kind of slowing down, and things that you don't typically see on shelves are now sticking around a little bit longer. I think this is worth seeking out. $142, and we're looking at a proof point or ABV of 55.4. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. If I do see this on the shelf again, I will definitely grab it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have had any of these releases, what release do you like the most? Or is this something that you just skip altogether? All right, that is all I have for you today. So wherever you were at in your journey, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.